What's up, everybody? Today's project is working on the 65 Chevy. Now, when I got this truck from my friend, it was billed as an almost complete car, but it's not even close. I mean, look at this. The control arms aren't even bolted down. There's a missing nut on the other side. And what I have over here is no steering, and the reason why is because he has 1963 drop spindles, and on a 65 using I believe 85 or 87 outer tie rods, which have a thicker shank than the 63s would have. So the way that you solve that is by using a reamer. So through Speedway, I got this tie rod reamer. What you're looking for is a 7 degree. Now this sucker was about 80 bucks, which is irritating. I've spent that kind of money when the suspension should have been done. If your hole is too small, you might have to drill it out first. So if you measure this end here, which is 1/2 inch, you might have to drill a 1/2 inch first and then do your reamer. I went ahead and bought a 1/2 inch drill bit, but it went right through. So really all we have to do is use the reamer. Now anytime you're doing heavy duty drilling, which I consider to be 5/16 to 3/8 or so, you need to set your drill up, especially if you got one of these 1/2 inch chuck ones. These are pretty strong. Set it up to where it doesn't kill you, because these things, in worst case scenario, they can break your wrist. So what I recommend is to lock it into your body like this, and even then, if you leave any room and it grabs and it goes around, they can break your ribs too. So to take extra precautions, I put myself up on the wheel well here. I take this pillow up against my ribs, and then I take the drill and I put it up against there. And make sure you figure out which way it goes, because if you're on this side but the drill kicks this way, then you're kind of screwed. But I already know the drill, if it grabs, it's going to twist this way. I got my body here, because if your hand's on here, even if it doesn't twist up your wrist, it's going to bring your hand up against here and smash your thumb or whatever. So be careful when you drill. Don't go ultra slow, and don't rock it at all, because it'll grab a corner and just whoop. So keep a good speed. Don't press down super hard. You'll just, as you drill more and more often, you just get a feel for it, and you know. And make sure that you use some kind of tap lube. I don't have any, but in this situation, I was using LPS2 till I ran out, and now I'm using WD-40. Or you can use motor oil. Just use some kind of lube. It helps keep the drill bit cool, and it helps keep it from locking up, especially when you've got a brand new bit that's really sharp. So that is how you drill out. Now, when you're drilling, don't go all the way through. What I recommend is to drill, stick it in here and check, drill, stick it in and check. Because you're going to think, especially if you don't have the boot on there, and you stick it through and you have enough to where you've got the hole here. You want that sticking out, and you still want enough to where you can put your castle nut on, you can see through the hole. Now, if you don't have the boot on, you're going to have a fair amount sticking out, and you're going to think that's wrong. So you might want to keep drilling to get it seated. But now what you've done is you've stuck it out so far that you ran out of threads. And if that happens, you're screwed. I don't even know how you'd fix that. I guess you could stick washers on there and then put your castle. But let's just go ahead and drill it to where I have this hole sticking out far enough to where when my castle nut has this thing tight, there's enough in the slot to put a cotter pin through. So that's what I'm going for. So just be safe. Drill through, check it, drill through, check it. Don't go too far. So if you screwed up after watching this video, then I guess you're just retarded. Because off this advice, you should be able to do it right. Now, I don't know if in other situations, if they do different degrees. All I know is in this setup, and I guess most setups, it's 7 degree. But just double check on that before drilling. On these Chevys, people like to mix and match parts. I mean, we're talking, these rotors are off early 70s. You've got 80 something tie rods, 63 spindles, 65 control arms. So if you're buying a project like this, you could, Lord knows what's in there. So make sure you measure, find out from the owner as much information as you can. Now in this setup, these are 5-lug rotors, but I adapted them to use the 6-lug transport rims, but they actually stick out too far, so I'm going to have to bite the bullet, take these rotors off and put 6-lug rotors on. Alright, I've drilled it enough to where I'm starting to get the threads poking through, but it's still not deep enough, because if I put that castle on there, it's going to bury. It won't be showing all that hole. So I'm going to pop it back out, drill it just a little bit more, and then we should be good. Let's see what happens. I'm gonna spray some WD. Get all set up here to pull it out, get some speed going first. It's probably gonna be good since I didn't need to take that much more off. And get all that junk out of it. All you can see is I've finished drilling. The hole's gonna be just right. I haven't tightened it down yet. Now my buddy couldn't even include nuts on these tie rods, so I went down to O'Reilly's, and if you go to the help section, you got 13559, and it has an assortment. Now the only crappy thing about this is that it has 4 different sizes. And if you have to do both sides, then you're going to have to buy 2 of these, and all you're going to use are 2 nuts, and the rest of these are just going to be extras, I guess, for later down the road. Maybe they'll work for you great if you're missing all your nuts on like your ball joints and all that, because that's probably about a ball joint size. So yeah, if you don't have your nuts, you can go here, and they'll also have the boots. Again, on their boot package, they'll have a 1/2" one and a 9/16. I believe this one's a 9/16. So if you're missing them on both sides, then you're going to have to buy 2 packages of that as well. So there you go. Good luck out there. Be safe.